Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be playing as Brazil, as Portugal. Now you might think, but isn't Brazil really bad with the dev? And you can't barely dev anything there at the first century in Brazil. Why, yes. But it does not mean you can make it into a ginormous empire. So, let's do this. I hope you enjoyed the video. First, to become Brazil, I had to ask my next door neighbor to annex me. I asked Morocco and he was not replying, so I thought he doesn't know how to chat. So I went to my Spanish neighbors. There was Aragon and Castile. So I said hey, to see who would be able to respond to me. First it was Aragon, thinking they'll be the only one having a chat on Roblox in the Spanish area. So I allied them, so after the war, they could help me out exiling. But then a couple seconds later, Castile said hello. But I just allied Aragon, so I can help them with Castile, and then Aragon can help me exile. But Castile is much more powerful compared to Aragon, and usually enough, they get French support. So now, I was stuck. But luckily, Aragon did not invite me to the war, so I was saved. But I didn't want to unally them, just in case if they did win. Aragon was losing because the French was supporting Castile, so I told Castile I was going to Brazil. I wanted to get rid of my outside territory, my islands I owned and African belongings, so I can get exiled a bit more quickly once the time came. And it gave me large amount of money, well not large, but still a pretty nice amount of money to exile with. Once the time came, I asked him to take my lands in Europe and built a Brazil empire. Before moving to Brazil, I did some deving on soon to be my capital. Because my income was pretty good for Brazil, not special, but better compared to other nations to exile with. But I mainly put down the fort because I was scared of Morocco. My main goal was to get, of course, Brazilian territory, part of the Brazilian trade now, and to get the entirety of South America, which so far was becoming true. Later on down the line, Morocco offered me alliance. I already had good ties with the Spanish, not too great for a full-on alliance, but just a decent sort of relations with the Spanish. Not enough to declare war on me, but not really a full-on alliance. Not just yet anyways. I was a bit hesitant to ally Morocco. But also later on down the line, Spain offered me alliance, which I gladly accepted. Mostly because if I did say no, I would worry they would probably team up with Morocco, maybe carve me up with Morocco for the trade notes. Get Brazilian, they get the Caribbean and the rest of South American territories. So I accepted the Spanish alliance because I was pretty chill with them, and because I didn't want to roughen up the relations by saying no. So far Brazil was going excellent. I mean honestly, it was becoming a fast powerhouse nation, a beautiful South American united nation. Flanders sent me alliance a couple of years later, which gladly accepted, showing I was a mainstay of the main powers of the world now, because Flanders was the most powerful nation in Europe. And to help me rise up through the ranks of the most powerful even quicker, there was this whole war with Spain and Morocco, which Spain started, and let's just say it was not going good for them until Flanders arrived. Luckily, they did not invite me into the war, so I didn't need to waste resources. Once I had all South America under my wing, I thought maybe I could buy some territory of the Spanish. A whole bunch of their colonies. What I mean by that, I mean all of their colonies in South America. I thought my offer for buying their colonies was a reasonable price. But while we was negotiating, Flanders came out of nowhere and decided to sell me all of their colonies in Mexico. Wait, I just hit the jackpot! I did have to take out a brutal forced loan, but it was worth it. for the gold reserves, the manpower.
Damn good deal.
And after doing some heavy force loaning, I was able to buy the rest of the Spanish territory they owned in South America.
Oh, this is beautiful.
And now I reached #1 in manpower. I was ready to do my war against the European powers, so I even pre-built an army. But I didn't know it at the time. My ally would be attacked under these ruthless European powers, which I would protect Spain to the end of the war.
Let's do this!
Sadly, around this time, Spain went bankrupt at the worst time, but I would not leave his side. Until he leaves the game, but while he stays, I'm on his side. Transporting these troops overseas would be very dangerous with the British Navy and the Italian Navy. I made one heavy ship, just enough to distract them while I delivered my troops to Spain. Even though I was able to destroy the British Armada, but I could easily destroy the Italian Armada. But Britain just did not help them. They just looked the other way. They was probably scared of my great navy. When I got to Spain, I was like a jump scare to them.
How did you pass
Navy?
I pretended I was a bar of soap and gave them all the slip.
So they basically had to retreat back. They didn't have enough forces to defeat me, nor with Spain. Even though he was bankrupt, me and him combined, they wouldn't have had a chance. We pushed them all the way back to the high mountains. I did want to push the fort Italy had, but sadly he had too many people in it, and I think it would have been a ginormous loss if we did push in. But they made a surprise attack push on us. With the British support, they went in for a full charge. Sadly, this charge was successful for the enemy team, pushing my soldiers and the Spanish forces back. But I made sure to not retreat them all the way back to Brazil. I retreated them back to my old capital city of Portugal. At this point, Italy think they could piece me out so easily.
How about no?
But sadly, they was able to push me out of the fort, but still getting brutal damages because of it. But I also had reinforcement coming. Britain tried to stop me, but I was able to fight back. After defeating the British Navy, I was able to put my troops on Spanish land. But while I was trying to go for Portugal because the Italy Navy was blockading the only way I could transport them easier, I had to retreat them. But Spain went in, tried to help me out. So I pushed all my troops in to try to save the Spanish, which I was too late. But this battle would turn into a great victory. But sadly, Spain decided to leave at this point, which was pretty sad because this war could have turned around very quickly. So I decided to wipe peace Italy. But I still gained in a pretty devastating defeat for them. There was rebels in Mexico asking for money, which I gladly accepted because I had a bunch of money. But I wanted round 2, so what I did, I invaded Spain and take back my original territories, but with that, I wanted to vassalize them. But around the time I did, Italy decided to leave, and Britain decided to leave too. The thing is, I already pre-built an army. I mean, I didn't want to not use it. I mean, it would be a waste. I mean, what other countries are there?
When I'll do anything, I'll do whatever it takes to...
I did send him a vassalage, but they didn't accept it for a long time. I was thinking there was probably pre-building an army and a navy, so I thought might as well war them because they probably would not accept. Luckily, I had 2 heavy ships, just enough to destroy probably around 20 sloops, I think. But still, my theory was correct and he did pre-build a navy. With that, I was able to destroy all of his ships, which tried to attack my soldiers. I landed right next to Istanbul. I lost a bunch of money by doing this, but he surrendered around probably a minute after land invading. I did take away all of his money for compensation of trying to destroy my troops. But I still wanted to give him something out of this vassalage, so I wanted to help him out getting claims in Persia, but around the time I did, he decided to leave, sadly. Still had a bunch of troops, so I still defeated Persia anyways. I will be ending the video off here. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to see more. Link to the Discord server down below if you'd like to join our game night events on Universal. And I'll see you people later. Have a nice one. See ya. Goodbye.